Hi, I'm here with Dave O'Miller. Dave has 5 years in recovery. Dave, do you have any tips for those who are in early recovery, navigating the holidays in early recovery?
I do. Thank you for asking. It's always a pleasure to be here talking to you, Katie, about anything. But the holidays are fun too. In early recovery, specifically, some of the things that were really helpful for me, which I think maybe people in early recovery, when I was in early recovery, safety planning, everything, it was sort of annoying, and yet it was really necessary, right? So like the people that were really helpful for me were the people that were like, okay, well, let's plan out this day ahead of time. When are you going to get up? What are you going to do after that? And you kind of like really like schedule it out. Scheduling it out is helpful because usually those areas, those gray areas that are unstructured and what I'm planning for the next day, that's usually where a return to use can live. That's where my head can get a little seedy, and I can manipulate myself and try and actually put those in, maybe subconsciously, right? And so to have somebody look at that with me, it was always really helpful. And so safety planning around that holiday ahead of time. When am I going to show up? Where am I going to show up? How am I going to get there? How am I going to leave? Do I have somebody that I can break away from? Like if I want to step out of that environment for a second. So if I'm with a whole room full of family, which brings up a lot of things from 12 to 4, that's a long time. Maybe 2 o'clock, I step outside real quick and give a call to somebody that I know who maybe is also doing this with their family, or somebody who's also in recovery that's done this a lot of times ahead of me. Putting that break in there can be kind of grounding, and it was for me. And so I actually still do that to this day. At some point throughout my interactions with family and friends, I will break away because it can kind of get intoxicating just being in that room for that long. And so I can step away, make a phone call. Not only does it help ground me and remind me of what I had planned ahead of time coming into this day, but it can also help ground someone else, right? You never know when you're introducing yourself into their day and they answer, how that's working for them too. Because is when we give this stuff, we receive it, and that giving and receiving also kind of echoes in my next point, which has been like changing the way that I look at the holidays. Has been very instrumental on the way that I'm able to experience the holidays in recovery from one year to the next, where like I focus much more on what I'm bringing to the environment than what I'm receiving. And the fun thing about that is that the more I bring to an environment, the more I'm able to receive from it. So like when I show up, I'm not so fixated on what I can't do, what I should be getting out of it, what this person's doing or what they're thinking. And instead I'm focused more on like whether or not I can help, because a lot of times like somebody is entertaining right now and it's not me. So like what needs to be done? Can I put my hands to some work? Can I check in and see how they're doing, or if there's a way that I can offer support? If there's a bunch of kids running around, helping out with kids is healing. And it's crazy how much energy and joy I can get from a child around this time of year. And I don't have kids. And I don't have kids for a reason. I don't really want them. But for some reason, there's something that is just like, there's just this well that never runs dry with kids and around this season, that just seems to help me sustain this idea of gratitude and faith and joy in this season. And so, I mean, that could be a little bit vague. Um, and yet, at the same time, I think when I say this to anybody early in recovery, you can always relate to the fact that, yeah, man, I've been receiving and stressing people out for a long time. This is really a great example for me to show up and participate with these people that I care about, because they cared enough to invite me. I care enough to be here. Whatever's been going on during the year, you get to kind of set that aside and be an example of the values that you intend to live for the year to come. Also, it's kind of great, specifically around Christmas and New Year's, because you just got to practice this at Thanksgiving. So you might be seeing everybody again.
Yeah.
So you get another crack at it. Anything you didn't like, any interaction that wasn't that awesome, any way that you felt drained that you want to kind of try and change this one. Like you get a few weeks later to kind of plan, work on it, and then show up and step into it again, because it's a blessing. It's a gift to be able to participate with this stuff. I was cut off from the sunlight and the grace of holidays for a long time because of the choices I was making and the substances I was using. And you take those away, and I mean that's the fruit of our sobriety right there. And so to hold that and to participate with it, it's a gift, and it only happens a couple times a year. So right, we need to be grateful for it.
Well, thank you. Those are some awesome tips. I love it. And I love the idea of being the one who gets to bring the magic of the holidays. And, you're so right about the kids and just how beautiful it is to see them at Christmas and so excited and so believing in everything good and wonderful in the world and getting to be a part of that. And you're completely on the other side of it now. And you get to be the one to bring that joy and holiday magic. So thank you, Dave.
Yeah, no problem, Katie. Thanks for asking.